Welcome to Rainbow Six Esports for Oceania in 2021. We're proud to share with you the timeline for our 2021 season and the format of our Oceanic leagues throughout the year. Through a sustainable approach to the region, we now have two clearly defined tiers and a proper flow through from our newly created Oceanic Challenger League to our returning Oceanic Nationals. Both leagues will meet for 3 stages in the year-long season, with participating teams accumulating points based on results from each stage. So how exactly will each stage be played out? We have 8 teams per league, playing single round robin best of ones with overtime. A regular win is rewarded with 3 points, while a loss gives 0. When the 2 teams fight up into overtime, the winner gets 2 points while the loser gets 1. At the end of each stage, the top 5 teams will qualify into our new gauntlet format playoffs, while the remainder of the teams will have their placements and points locked in. Playoffs for both OCN and OCL will be best of 3s with best of 5 grand finals. At the conclusion of each stage, teams will be allocated points based on their final standings. For OCN teams, the conclusion of stage 3 will show us which teams have earned enough points to enter a promotion relegation tournament and fight for a chance to enter the Asia Pacific Regional League, whereas OCL teams that accumulated enough points will have their promotion opportunity into the Nationals, OCN. For both OCN and OCL, the top teams from each league will compete in seasonal finals to be held on LAN, where we will crown a champion in each league. This will be a great opportunity to celebrate Rainbow Six Esports in Oceania and come together as a community. We will have more information on these events later this year. Ubisoft's commitment to the growth and sustainability of esports in the Oceanic region is higher than ever, with 2 exciting leagues of 8 teams broadcasting over 9 months of the year and direct pathways through to the coveted APAC League and ultimately the 6th Invitational. Opportunities are abundant for players in Oceania. You won't want to miss this exhilarating year of R6 Esports, so follow us at R6 Esports OCE to stay up to date with our season, support your favorite teams, and catch exciting content from the best players in Oceania.
I'm running out of time. I'm running out of feeling so. I'm running out of time. I'm running out of time. I'm running out of feeling so. I'm running out of time. I'm running out. I'm so empty, so empty. I'm so
This could be huge. Manages to find them. It's Playday number 5 for the OCN. We are back once again. It's been a bit of an Easter break, of course. We had Sunday off, but it's all about Monday now. My name's Xenox, and me, of course, is the lovely Guz. He's even decided to have a shave tonight and show us his best features. He's looking absolutely amazing. How are you?
Thanks,
How was
mate.
your Easter?
Yeah, pretty good. Still in a bit of a food coma, so might be a bit slow for the first couple of maps tonight, but we'll be all right.
That's good. Yeah, of course, we had a bit of a break, so of course we didn't have any matches yesterday, and it's been a little while since we've done OCN. I mean, can you believe it, guys? It's Playday 5, but I feel like we've only done one broadcast for OCN.
Yeah, we have. I mean, the boys did the double stint last week, so good on them.
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's right.
now we're back, so we rule the roost.
Yeah, we're going to be taking care of things at least for today, and I think even the next one as well. Let's go and look at the standings and sort of see where we are at. It feels like the halfway mark for the season. I guess it kind of is now, and the leaderboard is starting to take shape, guys. We've got Elevate still on top, tied with Bliss, who in a way has been a bit of a surprise this season. Down the bottom though, Rhythm, Alipho, they're in a bit of a dogfight.
Yeah, well, I mean, all 8 teams really are in a dogfight situation. It's only a 5-point gap from the top to the bottom, so a lot of these positions will be far from finalized, and basically any team can still qualify for the playoffs. So it's been a crazy season. We've seen a lot of unexpected results, or at least results that we thought would have been unexpected at the start of the stage. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and look, I'm sure the battles will continue.
Last week, you know, we speak about some of the results. I don't even know if we have a graphic for last week because it's been so long. Of course, we had that big match between Order and Knights, and you can see on the scoreboard there, Order take that lead. Now the fact that those two teams no longer have to play each other, guys. Now Order's already gotten that win over Knights. I feel like it opens up the rest of the season for Order. Looking at their schedule ahead, you know, they've got LFO, they've got Elevate, and then they've got RoflcopterGG. You win two of those games, and maybe you give the Elevate game away. You're definitely going to be ending up in the top 4, like at minimum. There's a chance though, if Order win all 3, they could be in first place by the end of the season.
Yeah, real possibility. I mean, you look at Elevate, for example, currently in first. They arguably have a little bit of a more difficult run. Sure, they have a rhythm tonight, but then they take on Order and then Wildcard in the final 2 play days, so a little bit tougher for them. And Bliss as well, they'll be taking on Ruffle, Wildcard, and Knights in that order. So you could definitely make the argument that Order are in a decent position to try and vie for that first place.
Of course, that was the big game last week. Let's look at the games tonight, though. The schedule for Playday number 5 as we get closer towards really the end of the season. It feels like already it's been so quick. Roflcopter versus Bliss will be our first matchup tonight. That is certainly going to be an intriguing matchup. I can't even remember the way I tipped that, and quite honestly could go 50-50. Rhythm and Elevate to follow after that. Kind of expect Elevate should get the job done. Order versus LFO, and then Wildcard versus Knights, which in months gone by, guys, would have been a very hot prospect, and maybe could very well be once again with Wildcard finding a bit of form recently.
Yeah, I looked at this fixture and it was almost like presents under a Christmas tree. And for me, the Wildcard in Pittsburgh Knight is like the big present, the one that you think is going to be the biggest and the best for the last one of the night. Open that one up, unwrap it. Will it be though, with Wildcard seemingly out of form? I don't know. Knights have been struggling a little bit in OCN as well, so I'm painting that one as probably being the most exciting one of the evening.
We're going to look at the predictions for tonight, which, having a look at that schedule, I kind of sense we might see some mixed results. No, it is as even as it can get, except for the first matchup tonight, Roflcopter versus Bliss. Basically split down to the middle, 3-4. We've gone for Roflcopter, guys, so yep. I kind of back us in there. We're doing a bit well. My prediction is in OCN, not as good as they are in APAC, where we are 1 and 2. And even for yourself, you're losing out to Raven of all people.
I know. Look, I'm happy that we're on the same page. That's a good sign of our synergy. But yeah, a little bit concerning. If Bliss do win tonight, I'm also going to fall behind Sky and Ducky on the right as well. So a little bit concerning, but yeah,
a lot of
I think it does show just how close. How close this first matchup is. When I first looked at the game, I was like, yeah, probably lock that in as Ruffle. But hey, Ruffle has struggled a little bit of recent times, and Bliss seemingly are the dark horse this season. So
I think the big thing for Bliss here, and obviously we both sort of hit Roflcopter, we have our reasons for doing so, but you look at sort of the past results for Bliss. They beat LFOs, you kind of would hope that they would be able to do that. They took Elevate to OT. I mean, that's not bad, right? Gets them a point. They beat Order in OT in Playday 3, and then they've gone and beaten Rhythm as well last week in OT. So almost all of their matches have gone to OT for Team Bliss, and I think if they are going to win this, though, it probably would go to OT, because Roflcopter themselves really are a team, I guess, that is around that same sort of level.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say that they're at a very similar sort of pedigree. As you mentioned, if it does end up going to OT, and I mean, there's a strong likelihood of that happening, I would probably have to just edge out Bliss. I, of course, did predict Ruffle, but that would be a regulation win. As you mentioned, so many of those games have gone to OT for Bliss previously in this season, and in almost every occasion they've ended up winning. So sure, they don't get max points, but they have that experience in longer games, and sure, it might only be an extra 10 or 15 minutes, but by that stage you start getting pretty tired, and I guess Bliss has already been tested in the endurance department.
Well, we spoke about OT, we've spoken about Roflcopter. We'll look at their lineup, but also one thing I want to just add to this OT discussion. They've only played the one overtime match, but it was a win, guys, and a win against Knights. So you can take a lot away from that. This team, of course, though, they've been extremely fun to watch throughout this season of OCN, but things have slowed down in the last 2 play days, guys. They got off to a flyer, didn't they? Winning their first 2 play days. Since then, though, they haven't really been able to make much of a mark. They got demolished by Elevate 7-2, and then they got beaten up by Wildcard 7-5.
Yeah, they went from 1st to 5th in the space of 2 play days, which really is a testament to how close the league actually is at the moment. And tonight will be a test for them. Are they able to rebound, or will it still be a bit of a shock to their system, considering they had a strong start to the season. One player I really want to highlight, and a player that I think needs to try and step up a little bit more to try and help his team, is probably Hotshot. He jumped across from Elevate last season, and so far this year he is finding it a little bit tough, going 19-29, only 67% cost. So expect him to try and put in his best effort, and if he steps up, I have no doubt the rest of the team can play at the best of their ability, as we saw them earlier in the season.
Their best is very good. We'll see if they can bring that tonight. We'll look at their opponents. Team Bliss, though. Hashtag Bliss up. I know there's a large contingent of fans in the chat, as always. Look, they've been another surprise story, kind of like Roflcopter. The only difference is they've been able to keep it going for quite a bit longer. They won their first Playday, then they lost, and since then, they beat Order, and then they beat Rhythm, both in OT, as we sort of mentioned before. This kind of feels like you win this and top 4 is all but secured for Bliss with only 2 Playdays to go, and you're getting rid of one of your rivals.
Ooh, big call. I mean, their last 2 games did go to OT, of course, with 2 of those being wins. And I think the question that really needs to be answered for these boys tonight is, are they just hanging on by a thread, or are they actually a serious contender for that top 2, maybe top 3 sort of position? One player as well to highlight, bottom of the list there, probably Repix. He's been looking pretty sharp. I mean, his stats necessarily haven't been amazing, 27-30, but he is rocking a 71% headshot ratio. So the man has been clicking heads and producing some nice content for us, which has been fun to see.
Both teams have been fun to see. Of course, you can only have one winner, though. I think the reason why I mentioned Bliss, they win this, they get top 4. They've got Wildcard, then they've got Knights. Those are their last 2 games. You don't win tonight, Guz, and then it will actually be a bit of a struggle maybe to get those points to secure it. They're on 8 points at the moment. So when we spoke about that log jam of the leaderboard before, when we were looking at the standings, they're kind of above that log jam, right? They've got that little buffer. You win tonight, you extend that buffer. You're not part of that middle of the pack. You can then afford to lose maybe a 1 or 2, even both Playdays to close out the season. So it's a pretty big game, I guess, for both of the teams. We've obviously gone for Roflcopter, but yeah, I think we're both sort of on the fence, right? It's a 50-50 game as much as we could say it.
Yeah, well, the one factor that we haven't discussed yet is the caster curse. Last week, Dev Mata vividly said Bliss is going to be number 1 at the end of this Playday, end quote. He is currently the bottom predictor in the Snowball Expert predictions. So,
is he?
Yeah, I think he was going 6 and 11 or something, or whatever the number was. It was definitely last. So I think, yeah, Bliss will have to overcome that curse on top of the difficult opponent in Ruffle.
They certainly will. Let's go and have a look at the map vetoes here for this match. Of course, best of 1. And is it going to be Oregon? No, it's Clubhouse.
Yay.
We haven't had Oregon for so long now, guys. I'm starting to forget what it what the map is like.
I do not forget what that map is like. Once you have it 3 times in a Playday, you will never forget.
Pretty good map, I think, for both teams. Stock standard. It's the Oceanic map. Let's be real, right? Home of OCE Siege. And I think it just gives both teams a pretty happy playing field.
Yeah. Honestly, I can't think of anything too notable to say about this map. As you mentioned, played very frequently in this region. Both of these teams have plenty of experience on it. And it is one of those maps that really comes down to who plays better on the day, has cleaner executes, minimizes their mistakes, and that'll be what both of these teams will be trying to do heading into this one.
I mean, it doesn't change my predictions. I'm assuming it doesn't really change your thoughts going into this, still backing Roflcopter. If anything, I think actually maybe favors Roflcopter even more in terms of my predictions a bit.
Yeah. A little bit. I mean, these two have actually played off against each other. The last time was in LPL Pro Season 3, so a little while ago, not the same stakes as this sort of competition. No. It was a 7-4 victory to Ferox at the time, now Bliss. So, look, I mean, I'm just bringing that up as a bit of a talking point. It doesn't really mean a whole lot, but
no, it's something, I guess, you know, but times have changed, right? And it's been a little while, as you said, so you kind of take it with a grain of salt, I guess. Sure. But in a way, for Bliss, it is something that they could look back on and say, look, we've beaten these guys here before. We're happy with this pick. And that's what I said. I think both teams would be happy. We saw Coastline was the banned map of, the choice technically for Roflcopter. So electing to go to Clubhouse rather than Coastline, which I think is the right decision. I'm sure we could have had a massive wacky mess had we gone to Coastline with these two teams causing a marker. It would have looked probably something resembling ranked.
Yeah, would have been a very interesting matchup. Thankfully, we don't have to wrap our heads around that. Clubhouse should play it a little bit more structured and a little bit more predictable, which is great for me, at least as a color, as I can try and set things up as they should be. That said, both of these teams at times can bring some pretty wild playstyles out of the gates. Both of these teams extremely explosive, particularly on those attacking executes. So I think that's something that we'll need to try and monitor as the map progresses. It'll be difficult because there'll be a lot going on, but I think it is important that we do just track how these teams are going, particularly in that last 30-second phase, which is, of course, of increasing importance.
Do you have any sort of, I guess, final thoughts that you maybe want to bring up here, Gus? Because going into Clubhouse for me, I don't really have too much else to say. It's I know our job, but at the end of the day, we don't have too much to go off going into this. We've already said it's 50-50. We're just going to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, I literally have it written on my prep. It's a difficult game to predict, and that's why we were so split.
It is. We saw it in the predictions as well.
It's just going to come down, like I said earlier, who plays better on the day. If it doesn't go into OT, it'll be a Roffle win. I'm happy to put that out there. But if it does end up going the distance, like we mentioned earlier, Bliss do have tried and tested endurance in long matches, and I think that will probably give them the edge if it goes that far.
Yeah, the other part to look at, of course, as well, defense. So far in OCN Clubhouse, it's been about a 55% win rate on the defender side. So for either of these two teams, if they're going to make hay while the sun shines, you got to do it on the defense. RoflcopterGG versus Bliss. Oof. Are we going to see anything crazy in the bans though as well? Surely we just see stock standard bans here on Clubhouse. First game of the day, first game of OCN for a little while now.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams at times can play a little bit unconventionally in the server, but outside of that, and I guess more broadly in OC, we don't really see a whole lot of crazy bans. If you stay up to date with APAC South, you'll probably see some of the other teams in that league, for example, do some crazy stuff, but here in OC, it tends to be pretty stock standard. Thatcher to kick things off reflects that, and Maverick as well. So, of course, that will make opening some of these major walls a little bit more challenging for the attack, but it's nothing these teams, again, would not have dealt with over the last couple of years, really, that has been popularized.
I was going to attempt to try and make the noise of like, well, I actually did attempt it. It didn't come off good. Kaid's going to be taken out as well. Yeah, this is very much stock standard right now, of course, and not too surprising, especially going into Clubhouse.
I don't know if the stream can hear. I don't know if the stream. Because people in chat going to be like, "Why are they making the sounds? We could hear it."
I thought that as well in my head. I was like, "Oh, surely, hang on, is it just us?" We go into round number 1 for the night, first game of the night. It's going to be a long one, of course. All 4 matches as per usual here for OCN, all best of ones. Team Bliss on the defense first up though, and we go down to basement. We go Church Arsenal. No surprise there at all. The one thing I do want to bring up though, guys, is playstyle. We saw in APAC South, and obviously neither of these two teams are in APAC South, but a lot more action happening actually on a site like this, for instance, more so around first floor, second floor, rather than waiting to the last 20 seconds and then dropping down, which is what we're used to seeing in OCN. And I'm kind of almost just sort of preparing myself for that once again. But is there a chance maybe one of these two teams may elect to play a little bit more aggressive with their roam game, and we do see more action on that first floor, second floor, like we do in APAC? Yeah,
well, I mean, the operators picked, at least in this first round, indicate to me that we might see a solo roam from the Vigil. I think it was Nazgul that picked it, if I remember correctly. We didn't see the likes of the Castle, the Mute Mozzie, etc., that you would expect from the more SSG structured roam style. So we may just in this first round in isolation see that solo Vigil roam, which either it's, again, a coin flip. He's probably either going to find a 3K as they hunt him down, or he's just going to get absolutely destroyed at the start of the round. But either way, I'm keen for some more early round action. Sometimes Oceanic teams, they like to be a little bit boring, take their time. So any action earlier in the round is always fun to see.
Boring, but definitely taking their time. I think that's the right way to phrase it, right? The other part of it as well, actually, and sort of speaking about the game as we should be, is that a lot of the APAC teams don't really put much pressure though on that first floor if they do elect to stay down, right? It's like you either go all in one way or the other. You either go all into that heavy roam, or you go in for that heavy turtle. So this is something that we don't usually see in OCN.
Now, Repix inside of Lounge. Trying to deny the entry into bottom garage. Might be able to collect a couple of drones, and it does. So the drone economy already here a little bit dicey for Ruffle. 3 drones down. And Repix now can pretty safely go down blue if he wants. Maybe hold it for a little bit longer, try and support Shade now playing Rafters. But I think his job has basically been done this round. It wasn't much, but it was enough.
I can't remember the last time I saw someone playing Rafters on a basement site, but see how it plays out. Definitely a lot of pressure from Team Bliss above, making it a little bit difficult for RoflcopterGG to get a footing inside. So that 1-for-1 trade, I guess, in the end, not much really comes from it. Losing the Bucks not great, but it's not going to be the end of the world for RoflcopterGG. Nazgul's going to get spotted out as well by Campo on the Yana. And RoflcopterGG with a slight advantage for now. Still a minute and a half in the round. Lots of time here. And if Team Bliss do fall back, they're going to be obviously at that disadvantage down a player, giving RoflcopterGG all that freedom above.
Representing side of blue, the two remaining players inside of Armory. Oda underneath the hatch, not running impacts, so not looking to trick it. Todd already using his, so he won't have a major impact in this round in terms of utility. Ruffle, meanwhile, they're above opening up these hatches, or at least attempting to, and I don't think it will be all that difficult as Hot Shot will pop the stock hatch. Come across to bar and pop that as well. The Ruffle just ticking off the checklist at the moment with that Kaid band. There's not really much they can do to deny these hatches, and Ruffle now in a 3-on-3 need to consider the execute. Oh,
Nice shot from Repix to catch Campo, and unfortunately for Ruffle, they do go from 4 now down to 2. Unfortunate for Bouncing. Hot Shot does get one onto Todd though, and again evening things up. 18 seconds left in the round. OJ's going to go for that plant now. Banshee just sort of slowing down Hot Shot for a second there.
Oh,
OJ gets it down. Hot Shot watching's now got 3 for the round, and Repix is in a 1 versus 2 retake scenario. Has to hit those shots, and he does, and he punishes him. 1 versus 1, 30 seconds left. And he knows where he is as well, but it's OJ who hits the shot and wins the first round for RoflcopterGG. A round that had just about everything.
a valiant effort there from Repix at the end of the round. That shoulder pick did look very, very dangerous, but it was shut down. Good first round there from Ruffle, and we did, I guess, briefly mention earlier that we were expecting to see some shenanigans between these two, but so far, pretty straightforward, right? We saw Habana open up the hatches with ease. Again, we've got the Kaid band, and then a pretty stock standard execute through the black box wall, that triple wall at the bottom of the main stairs. So, not really giving me much to work off here, Ruffle. Not really much else to say.
Well, I'd say it was more stock standard from Ruffle, but I think Bliss definitely trying some different things. Legion up in rafters. They put a bit more pressure on that sort of top red area, looking towards CC wall. So I think Bliss trying something different. Didn't quite work out. They lost too many players really early on. That's I think the biggest problem there. When you commit to, it wasn't even really a roam game, right? They were just sort of putting pressure on that second floor. When you commit to that, and if you lose those players, then falling back down. If you're down a player on defense, it just makes it so much easier for the attacking team, and we kind of saw that firsthand in the end for RoflcopterGG. Despite Bouncing, who obviously lagged out there, leaving the game midway through, RoflcopterGG still ended up winning.
Yeah, I just wanted to make it a little bit more entertaining for the first round of the night. I get that. That's a perfectly reasonable strategy. Of course, Ruffle are looking for an organization, so the more they can do, I guess, to spice up that department is probably for the better. But on a serious note, it's always good to see a team can recover from that. I mean, you don't really have a whole lot of time once it happens to sort of process it. You've just got to quickly adapt and just pretend he died, for example, to a frag as you normally would. So good work from them. Again, I don't really have much to comment on the attack, but as you mentioned, Bliss on the defense. Pretty strange stuff going on there. So they had aggressive roam at rafters, Repix as well, looking pretty sharp over towards lounge, and then that later flank in through garage. Narrowly missed this flank as well. I really thought there was a fair chance he'd win that, but OJ, he's been playing pretty well so far this season. He's been playing that like Habana ace support role, so came up strong when it mattered.
I feel like we're owed this early little break, because for those who missed, was it Playday 4, Guz? I think it was Playday 4 that was like horrendously plagued with issues, and me and you were just sort of like laughing it off because we were meant to cast that night, but I was absolutely sick. So we got the night off and skipped it. And of course, as we start Playday 5, we've got a players DC'd, and we have to sit here. We don't really go too much off of that, really, but it's a good start for Roflcopter when you're all things considered. They're on the attack, right, for that round on a site that's generally favored to the defense, at least according to the statistics. So that's all you could really ask for. Get off to a good start. Good signs for Roflcopter, for Team Bliss. I don't think it's bad signs. I think that their willingness to try something kind of highlights that they're up for this game, that they're happy to try different strategies to put them in that winning position. All right, doesn't work out round 1. Plan B for round 2, right? Just try and do it all again, but we'll just tweak a few things. They are going to go up to CCTV and Cash, though, and I actually think this will suit them, right? Because the way that Bliss kind of set up for that basement site last round was kind of similar to how you would actually play CCTV and Cash.
Yeah, the one thing really standing out to me here from Bliss is that mirror pick. Todd selecting her. I don't believe it was a 6-pick either, so it was shown to the attack. Now, it is an operator that you wouldn't traditionally see a whole lot of play on this site, but in APAC South, for example, we've seen some of the Southeast Asian teams bring it to the board. Giants is one that comes to mind, where they just place it on the main wall. You might not see it on this occasion as Todd places one on the con wall. Maybe the other one will... No, it won't be holding main because the reinforcement on the other side. Okay, this is...
Okay, this is different.
The soft wall, and then he'll probably shotgun.
They're going to go heavy defense top red?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It feels like even Todd looks a bit lost. Surely he just places the main wall, right?
Yeah.
That's the play. It'll facilitate Oda on the bandit trick, though.
Now, I could be completely off the mark here, guys, in regards to... Because I remember the first time we saw this, and we were a bit like, all right, what's the main purpose? But to me, every time I've seen the mirror placed on that wall, I notice that the wall is 10 times harder to really open up and actually become a pathway. A lot of the times what ends up happening is the mirror itself gets destroyed, leaving sort of the hole, which is still the cross, but no one's able to come through.
Yeah, not only does it make it more difficult to actually open the wall, but it increases that visibility for Oda if he wants to try and trick the wall. That said, he's getting pressured from below, so he'll need to be mindful. Again, Maverick has been banned, so opening the wall is going to be tricky at the best of times. So Bliss really just trying to make it as difficult as possible on top of the bans already. So a challenge for Ruffle to deal with.
You got pressure as well from Campo on the subroof, just watching into CCTV while Oda is, well, presumably trying to trick it there. He's gone around twice now. They've got Repics below, so they don't have to worry too much about a player from Roflcopter being below and catching him, but of course that wall has been opened up. It's not ideal for just making a quick run through. It's mostly there for the cross. Bouncing, of course, can watch this at least for the remainder of the round. Minute and a half, though, and a lot of time has been eaten up on the clock, which is good news for Team Bliss, looking in a much better position this round than they did in the last round.
Trying to think about how they're going to shape up for the execute. They don't have garage control. In fact, the door's still up, and Nazgul considers a run out, but thinks better of it. Does look like the attack's all stacking towards Cash. Con bedroom side. So that's probably where the execute will come from. Bouncer might stay on the rappel to watch that cross on the breach. Campaign, meanwhile, does find the first in towards site. And Sabana will open up the wall. So it looks like it will definitely be a Cash execute. OJ with that diffuser in hand. Just sitting back, waiting, giving his team intel, and they might try and find one more pick before they go in.
And they're really going to just sort of pinch these plays in top red as well, because they've got that cross from the CC wall, so they can only really go down the red stairs. Otherwise, the players pushing in from Con know exactly where they are, and they're watching those sites at least going over towards CCTV. So really, really good opportunity now for Roflcopter. Oda with a big C4 though onto OJ. Bouncing has to get involved and is trying to do so as Hotshot will plant that diffuser. Boy, they're just spraying into the smoke, completely off the mark, but he will catch him with the skeleton key onto Oda. 2 versus 3 now with the plant down. Hotshot pushes in, swings in. He didn't even check top red, but somehow still comes away with the kill onto Shade. I don't know how Shade didn't kill him. Nazgul now in a 1 versus 2.
Those is a play top red. This is the first burst. 25 seconds. The timer continues to tick down. 7 seconds to counter defuse, so even less than what's displayed. He gets flashed there. Great work there from Hotshot, who now sprays through the wall. He knows there's a player on the other side. Nazgul does line him up as he runs away. Both these players one shot. There's only 10 seconds left. Nothing Nazgul can do at this point, and the post plant is played perfectly by a Roflcopter. Boydie can swing wide, find the final pick, and secure the round.
Well, it got messy towards the end of the round, but for the most part, I actually thought it was quite clinical from RoflcopterGG in the way they were able to do with the mirror wall, go through con, open things up, get the opening pick. You know, it's sort of like a checklist, and they're just ticking them all off one by one while dealing with the bouncing issue that's now plagued them for 2 rounds in a row. And considering the fact they're on attack as well, like this is by far and away the perfect start for RoflcopterGG so far after the 2 rounds.
Yeah, bouncing. Keeps bouncing in and out of the game, apparently. So
Oh, jeez.
we'll have to get that sorted out. That was all right. That was
pretty good. No, that was good.
it's probably the funniest thing that's been said on broadcast all night, which really just is a testament to how low the standard is at this point. But it's a long day. It's a long night. We've got plenty of time to up our game.
You got to save the best till last, guys. That's the way you got to, you know, it's a marathon, not a sprint, is what I like to say.
Yeah.
It looks as if we're going to go back down to Church Arsenal once we get bouncing back into the game. He can bounce his way back in. What do Bliss need to sort of change? I mean, it's only 2 rounds. They're not looking too horrible, but it just feels like RoflcopterGG are just really having their way with them at the moment on their attack, able to just push in, keep getting these early picks, and have these early advantages. Except for the fact that bouncing keeps obviously lagging out. Don't know. It's an intriguing one, especially the fact that Bliss are on the defense. Usually, I'd be sitting here saying if it was Bliss on the defense that were winning these rounds, you would say, right. You know, if you're RoflcopterGG and you're struggling, you're on the attack, at least at some point, you know, you're going to switch over and go the defense side yourself. But for Bliss, they're going to have to get a wriggle on here. They're going to need to really win this next round going back down to basement.
Yeah, it's always the risk in that 3rd round, right? If you lose the first 3, then you start to really doubt just how deep your site pool selection is. I guess the fact that they're going back to Church, if they win that, they're not looking too bad, then they can maybe try Bedroom.
No.
But I would be more concerned if they pick Bedroom as that 3rd side and then lost that, because then you're in real strife, especially on Clubhouse, which only has the 3 sites. Apparently, production is a big fan of OJ. Just want to see this clutch once again. And the most recent round, I think the one thing that was maybe a little bit concerning in this most recent round was, remember Bliss set up that mirror on the wall. They invested the bandit trick. So they seemed pretty confident, and it was their game plan to stop them from getting in that breach and maybe going for the garage execute. Adding on top of that, they were playing aggressive in-bot garage. But Roffle, they didn't play into that. They rotated, as Bliss, I would assume, would have suspected. Yet they still struggled in that later stage of the round. So I'm not sure if Bliss failed to adapt well enough. Maybe Roffle just shut down too many of those angles once they got the cache wall open. Of course, it's a little bit difficult to tell. You'd need to do a proper in-depth review of that, but a little bit concerning if your game plan isn't really being executed the way that you would like.
I mean, the only thing the other thing as well I should mention is we're only 2 rounds into this, and even though Bliss are on the defense, it is only 2 rounds. It's pretty easy to come back, and starting slow is a thing. Some teams do have some nights where the first 3-4 rounds just don't quite go their way, and then they start to bring it back, even if it is on the attack, even if the stats say it is defender sided, at least here for OCN. I don't doubt that Bliss are capable themselves, especially Bliss, the way that they play on the attack. They're fraggers. So by no means is this over. It's just a really good start for RoflcopterGG. I don't know how else you could really phrase it there. You can only play each round as it is, put in front of you, and deal with the rounds as they are. I think for Bliss, going back down to basement, you win this, it's 1-2. Suddenly you get that reset. At least mentally, you get that reset. You're not that far behind. You've won a round, right? Go back up. Let's do CC cash once again, because Gym Bedroom's usually the 3rd option, right? Usually the attackers find it a bit easier to open up. It's a little bit easier compared to the other 2 sites. So I would have been very surprised had they gone Gym Bedroom. I think we saw one APAC team do it. One of the SCA teams go Gym Bedroom early on for their defense. Don't even know if it worked out, but yeah. So that's where we're at.
I don't know. I'm trying
one round at a time every 10 minutes.
I'm trying to think if Gym Bedroom might be slightly better than Church if you play it well, purely because Kaid is banned, so you can't defend any of the hatches as you would like, especially with the Hibana buff, right? So you know that all 3 hatches are going to get open no matter how hard you try. It's just going to happen. The mute's banned, so if you want to do a roam, you're limited. You'd have to just bring the Mozzie, which means you only have 3 pests. Not great. Whereas Bedroom, I mean, you can deny the wall, you can extend over towards cache, deny CC wall. So I don't know. We'll have to see if my hypothesis rings true if Church and Arsenal ends up being better or worse than Bedroom, but I just think it's something interesting to note, especially with those bans on the board.
You definitely bring up good points as to, the positives to it, how it can work differently based on the bans. That's why you get paid the big bucks.
Yep. I bring the hype as a color, remember?
Yeah, exactly. Look, I still think you've just got to go stock standard. Go down to basement, as Bliss have elected to do for this round. The real question will be not so much the site guards, but how they play it. As we saw in the first round, Team Bliss, they had the Legion up in rafters. They had, I think, 2 around top red. Sort of just change your positionings and the way you sort of want to defend this site. And the round itself will probably play out entirely different.
Yeah, I like that from Shade early on in the round. Some people probably wondering why the hell is Goyo just randomly on the other side of the map. But Shade's goal there is to try and shoot a couple of drones. I think OJ did send one in to strip late, but it didn't get caught. That said, they did find one, so that isn't much for Bliss, but it is something. Campo with 1 less drone to work with for the rest of the round. And then, of course, like Goyo can just go back to site, and he's got plenty of time now to do his setup, so there's no real detriment to him.
The big thing, though, is the pressure and where they're going to put it. You can see Nazgul over in Kitchen, right? We don't really actually see too many players just sitting in Kitchen, but I don't mind it. Sort of just playing mind games a little bit. Of course, he can just push down the central stairs as well if need be, not too far. He's got multiple angles, though, that he does have to watch. But you can already see the difference in the way that Bliss have set up this round compared to, say, round number 1, where they put a lot more emphasis on this garage section, trying to deny blue. Red pick's down there at the moment. They had a player over towards red stairs as well. But you can already see also the way that Roflcopter themselves are moving around the map, guys. They are expecting Bliss to be anywhere on this map.
Yeah, that's probably not too ill-advised considering what we saw in that last round as Nazgul finds the first pick of the round. It's Boydie with a C4 over towards the kitchen hallway. So an opportunistic Nitro cell does hit the mark. Not sure if that was maybe off the back of Todd's intel on the Valk. Potentially could have been. But either way, it is a nice pick. Hatches being opened. As I said, they should be uncontested, and that's a great sign if you are a Roffle fan or a Roffle player seeing those hatches open. Plenty of opportunities to enter in towards the side and try and get something done.
And there's still 1 minute and 15 seconds left as well. So this is all right. I think this is par right now for Roflcopter. They're down a player, they got the hatch open nice and early. The question will be whether or not they've got other avenues of attack. Bliss have been defending blue area pretty well. I don't think there's anyone pushing in towards dirt. So if it's just going to be a hatch drop, I do like the chances for Bliss, especially when they got that player advantage. Okay, so Hotshot's over in dirt. This at least opens things up. If you can find a pick from dirt, try and make it about a 4 versus 4 with 30 seconds left, Roflcopter will be in much better shape.
Bliss is super reliant here in the back of Armory playing off those shields. They have good coverage from the hatch as Nazgul gets aggressive over towards the main stairs. As you can see, causing issues for the likes of OJ. Up above, gets lit up. Hotshot sends it though. He does find one. Hatch drop initiated, and OJ will try and stick the plant. Campo holding that long angle, but Repic swings wide. Plant is stuck though.
For the 3rd time this evening, it's a 1 versus 2. For the side of Roflcopter having the 2, Bliss with just the 1. Another retake. It's 3 plants now, though, for Roflcopter. Will it be 3 round wins as well? Repix with a bit of time, 27 seconds. Knows that Campo is above. And above is exactly where Campo wants to be. And Repix needs to get into that kitchen position as well. If he's going to deny him, he's not. 3 plants and 3 round wins for Roflcopter to kickstart Clubhouse. And further bad news for Bliss because this map is just falling away from them. And it all started with Hotshot. I mentioned it late in that round, guys, but that dirt position was their 2nd avenue of attack, and if you could find that kill, it opens it up. He can push onto site without having to drop down the hatch. He does that. He ended up finding a 2nd kill there onto Shade as well, and that basically won the round for Roflcopter.
Yeah, I applied the blowtorch to Hotshot a little bit in the pre-show, said that so far this season hasn't been great from him, at least by his standards, but as you mentioned, stepping it up in that round and really aiding in the win. Looks like Bounson has said sayonara once again. He's just getting back. All right, how much did Rob and Dev pay you to do this to us?
It's
intentional. It's intentional.
It's
Oh, no,
like,
he's
back in. All right.
It was just a
I was
magic
half
trick.
expecting another 10-minute wait per round here. Anyway, CCTV, Cash. You're gonna laugh though, because right now it's actually it's a little bit doom and gloom for Team Bliss. 3 rounds. They haven't quite gone the whole world. We haven't seen Gym Bedroom, but the sites that you need to be winning on defense, they haven't been winning. So we're not. That's the reason why we're not going to see Gym Bedroom, because they're struggling on these other sites.
Wow, that's quite a peculiar 6 pick there. The Wamai onto the Warden there for Nazgul. So I would assume that he's going to play Rafters, but sure, he can contest the flashbangs, but any grenades that are sent out by Campo could pose a threat. There's something to monitor during the mid-round as Roflcopter decide where to push from. They didn't in fact push Garage at all last time, so
No.
we'll have to see how that plays out. And I assume it might be similar this round because Todd has brought that mirror and will probably put them in the same spots.
They dealt with the mirror. That was priority number 1. Once they got that sort of opened up, they all rotated over to Con. I mean, it was like 4 Con, 1 on CCTV wall, which was, I believe, Hot Shot, or I believe it was Hot Shot, or was Bouncing. Actually, it was Bouncing who was repelling there. So it was a 4-to-1 sort of split. And as you said, there was no pressure at all on Garage. So Rafters was never really a factor. And what ended up happening is the players for Team Bliss who were over at top red basically got caught in the crossfire, and they couldn't go anywhere besides either staying in their position, which is where they get pinched, or rotating down, effectively giving up sight.
Has Repix got ants in his pants? I swear every time we spectate him in the first minute of the round, he is just off doing his own thing. He's going alright though for a 3, as I mentioned earlier. Quite a nice headshot percentage as well. So the man's been hitting his shots. As it hits his there onto Shay that's inside of Lounger. Good early pick, but Todd retaliates from Lounger, but that as well is traded.
Yeah,
so
and if it wasn't going to be Campo, it was going to be OJ anyway, so... Ooh, yeah, not a good start for Team Bliss. They are in these precarious positions, but then it's Roflcopter who are winning these fights. They're just winning the ones. Off-site. And kind of eerily similar to round number 1, where it was 4 versus 3. Bliss then fall back to site. 3 players on site. Roflcopter have the advantage, and they can start remodeling these floors. They can start putting the pressure on. They've still got a minute and a half. It's all too easy right now for Roflcopter.
That's cool though. Could be the lifeline here for Bliss as he finds that pick there onto the Buck. Not sure if that was through Vert or if he went down below. It might have been from the top of the stairs, but he continues on. Finds a second. The table's now turned. Hotshot on OJ. Left to try and clutch up. Hotshot's below OJ. Not exactly sure where he's positioned. In fact, he'll be on the roof. They need to try and think about how they're going to link up and bring this one back.
They've still got time. They've still got a minute. Now down a player, although I'll take that one back. Nazgul just caught napping in CCTV. Nice little swing from OJ. Still a minute. Repix at top red, Oda's over in Garage. I mean, they have got, I guess, both A and B sites covered extensively well in these positions. But if it comes down to Hotshot and OJ pushing together, well, they're going to create a 2v1 scenario every single time.
Could not be the case. Still quite disconnected. It looks like they'll try and go through a con push. Of course, it is a risky cross. You have Oda watching from deep in rafters in the other top red. That breach open, though. That could change everything if they try and send it through there.
Just have to wonder how much information that they have. Do they know that there's a player in rafters? Do they know that there's a player top red? Well, this definitely looks like they know there's a player there. Nice swing, OJ and Hotshot. They have that 2v1. They come out successfully. There's the swing from Repix. He's got ants in his pants, like you said. He wasn't going to sit idly by. He swings that, even though, you know, 2v1 could have easily had the player covering, get the kill, which would have won the round. He still takes the swing. He still wins it, and Team Bliss are finally on the board. Oh, no. What? Is he just, like, bugged or something? I swear, at this point, he just can't stay in game.
There's 3 things guaranteed in life. Death, taxes, and bouncing DCing after every single round. Well, it is what it is. Bliss, they got a round on the board, so that's pretty big.
Yeah.
Repix, he's looking sharp. I keep talking him up, and he delivers, which is awesome to see. I think that round, if anything, just displays how bad Hibana can sometimes be in clutch situations where you need to find a couple of picks just because of how small the mag size is. So unfortunate there, but Repix taking full advantage, as you said. Didn't want to sit idle, and that was the play. He had to send it. There was no opportunity for that second player on the plane to ever get off that and refrag. It was just never going to happen. So he retaliated really nicely, and a quick little 2K to end out the round. And Bliss now still in this map. If they had have lost that round, honestly, I probably would have called it. But
yeah,
they're still in it.
You say they're still in it, and we both agree, as we were just sort of saying there at the same time, we both would have called it. Had it got to 4-0, I mean, at that point, I would have just said, wave the white flag more than anything, especially considering, it's quite obvious Roflcopter having a few little issues themselves technically. So the fact that they're up 3-1 is even worse there for Bliss. They needed to get that round. When they get it, they will most likely go back down to basement. Didn't quite catch the site there at the end before we went into the rehost. But I mean, you've got to be winning basement, right? They've obviously struggled with it. They win that, and then obviously we'll see gym bedroom to close out the half. So there's a real opportunity, and I can't even believe I'm saying this, that this could be 3-3 at the half, at which case, obviously, if you're Bliss at that point, you are ecstatic with 3 in the half.
Look, I'm not going to be too happy if they go down below. I think I stated my reasons pretty well before, and the fact that you've lost it twice just honestly gives me no hope for the rest of this half. Please just bite the bullet, go to bedroom, and if you lose it, you lose it. At least die trying. There's no point going to the same site and losing it 3 times. You honestly just look a little bit stupid when you know that bedroom is still a viable site. It's like bedroom is absolutely terrible, and like I said, with the bans, very playable. I'd love to see them at least, if they try it and lose, well, so be it. But you don't go to a site 3 times in a row after losing it. At least that's in my opinion, but I have never played in OCN, so what would I know? What would I know?
Exactly. I don't know. Obviously, you've got to play the game at a pro level to really understand it, guys. So you absolutely know nothing.
I've got absolutely no hope.
What I do know, though, is it's 3-1 to Roflcopter. We are in a rehost at the moment, so what we're going to do is we're just going to throw it over to a break, and hopefully when we come back, we can finish off the rest of this match.
Black face, hey, follow me around, okay, black face, hey, follow me around, okay, used to want it bad, but I can't taste it, I can't help you now, okay, follow me around, okay, black face, hey, follow me around, okay, follow me around, okay, black face, hey, follow me around, okay, too much up on my plate, now I can't think. I said woke up, take a X, and now I'm feeling this is it. Want the money, want the rest. I do purse, not no cess. They say, Don, it's why you sad. I said, I just need to think. Red tape, got too close, I hit the city. I black face, show you everything you need till you fornicate it bad. Someone said it's sad, cause I used to want, it bad. I know it's in my head, keep seeing you too many times, yeah. I know it's in my head, keep seeing you. I know it's in my head. Follow me around, okay, black face, hey. Follow me around, okay, got too much up on my. Follow me around, okay, black face, hey. Follow me around, okay, got too much up on my. Follow me around, okay, black face, hey. Follow me around, okay, got too much up on my. Follow me around, okay, black face, hey. Follow me around, okay, got too much up on my. Follow me around, okay, black face, hey. Follow me around, okay, got too much up on my. Follow me around, okay, black face, hey. Follow me around, okay, got too much up on my. I can't pretend to like you. I hope you feel the same. I take a chance and not lose. I can't pretend to like you. It's just I never thought you were sitting next to me. I don't understand. It's just I never seen you smile. You wanna make out, give me a second. It's just you never talk, I never listen. When do we fall in love? Make up your mind, honey, cause I can't pretend to like you. I hope you feel the same. I take a chance and not lose. I can't pretend to like you. I can't pretend to like you. I hope you feel the same. I take a chance and not lose. I can't pretend to like you. You need a friend. I can't help this time. I'm in trouble. It's your eyes, I can't seem to focus. It doesn't matter cause you live a lie. You want attention from every guy in the park. But when you call, give you my heart, you rip it out. I can't pretend to like you. I hope you feel the same. I take a chance and not lose. I can't pretend to like you. I can't pretend to like you. I hope you feel the same. I take a chance and not lose. I can't pretend to like you. I can't pretend to like you. I hope you feel the same. I take a chance and not lose. I can't pretend to like you.
I said at the start of the night, this was going to be a marathon, not a sprint. Little did I know that implied mostly to this first match of the day. We are back from the break. Thank you guys for sticking around. It's Rufflecopter versus Team Bliss still in hand. Bouncing is back in. It's 3-1 and off we go again. Down to basement. Let's redo it all.
How was your Easter? I forgot to ask you. You asked me, but I didn't get a chance to ask you back.
Mine was good.
Do anything fun?
Not particularly, which just means it was good.
Yeah.
I don't like doing things.
Can you confirm? I can confirm that. You do like being late to meetings. That's what I do know. All right.
No comment.
Round number 5. Let's jump in. Operator lineup's looking pretty similar. One thing that's standing out there actually is Nazgul Bandit on basement. Not something we see every day. Maybe we'll see a roam facilitated here. I don't really, outside of like the triple wall at bottom main stairs, I can't really think of a use
You're gonna
case
try
here.
and bandit trick the CC wall?
Nah, surely not on basement. I wouldn't think so.
I don't know. I've seen some crazy things. I saw a player up in rafters before for basement. So, but no, it's gonna be stock standard. So triple wall down in church. Before we went to the break, we were kind of setting up the storylines and where this match was kind of heading, Guz. And of course, Team Bliss, they won the previous round number 4. So they were down 3-0. Now it's 3-1. You go down to basement, which typically defenders do well. You make it 3-2. You head to gym bedroom to close the half, and it's all in your hands at that point. So for Team Bliss, it does feel like this round in particular, though, is still a must-win. And Nazgul is so aggressive.
That was
Just got to think for Vents.
yeah, quite scary. Uses his nitro cell as well, and gets cut off.
No.
That's really well played there by Ruffle. Upon reflection, it probably does make sense bringing Bandit with the mute Kaid ban. So I take back what I really was sort of suggesting there earlier. But either way, Nazgul's impact, at least in the frag department, will be nullified. And it's up to the rest of the team to hunker down. All 4 members, in fact, back towards the site. And that gives Ruffle a lot of freedom now. They'll be able to get those hatches open, establish that vert. And they are not really under any pressure on the clock whatsoever yet. 2 minutes is a lot to work with.
It's weird to say this, but I still think that was the right play for Bliss. They now just feel the effects of not winning that exchange. I mean, the idea there is pretty simple. You get that run out, you make it a 5 versus 4, you run back down, and then you've got the advantage for the rest of the round. Makes it hard for the attackers when they're down a player trying to push onto a basement site, really on almost any map. Boydie has just been taken very, very low, though. So that almost paying dividends in the end to get one back there. At least a little bit of pressure, and it also means Boydie can't put a foot wrong for the remainder of this round. But yeah, the idea was there for Bliss, just didn't quite work out. They were going to fall back down regardless and just kind of back themselves in from here. And the thing as well, right, in terms of the risk versus reward, 5v4 isn't end of the world for the defensive team. But if you go up 5v4 for the defense against the attacker, I find that is typically worth it. That's worth going for.
Vert established here by the attack, bouncing, posted up over towards blue. Repix, he's been sharp tonight. Need to push back this fierce resistance from bouncing. It continues to trickle down. It really feels like Ruffle may be trying to find one more pick, just make the execute a little bit safer. This could be the one. Repix sees the barrel of the gun, but doesn't hit any shots. Swings and gets shut down. Bouncing's going big here. Maybe gets wallbanged though. Bit of damage inflicted, but he swings yet again. Ooh. What are they doing? They just cannot shut him down, and now Todd is left in the 1-on-4.
Well, most players would have expected Bouncer to just fall back, right? That pre-shot over to the barrel of the gun is almost like a warning shot, but Bouncer just took that as time to actually push forward, take space, and then knowing that he was going to get peeked again, but this time he's in a position that the defender doesn't know he's in. That gives then the advantage over to Bouncer, and boy, does he take advantage of it. 4-1 and a nice clean round for Rufflecopter. It all stems from the start of it, though. You know, if that's a 5v4 in favor of Bliss towards the end, I don't know if Rufflecopter have as much strength to be able to just push onto site like that and overwhelm Bliss, but hey, you got to take advantage, and they did. And we finally head to gym bedroom.
Finally, yeah. After 3 losses down below, Team Bliss will count their losses and head over towards gym bedroom. A 4-2 result here would keep them in it. I'd say a 5-1 though is really pushing the envelope. Again, considering how defenders started this map, should probably be considering those bans. Who knows? Once the side switch over, we could see a change of momentum. In this round, however, though, Oda electing to bring a Maestro this time round, an operator that doesn't get as much love as he used to. Still got the older, a strong primary, as well as the two evil eyes, can gain a lot of intel and inflict damage on the attack. Outside of that, nothing's really sticking out as being too wild from either side. Shade still continuing to stick the Goyo though, so we might see those shields placed around to strengthen the hold a little bit. One towards main stairs, of course, that will facilitate the swing from bedroom to hold the breach, and I assume the second one will be placed inside cash or maybe top red, but no, actually smack bang in the middle of bedroom to fortify that mattress position.
Just give Shane a bit more breathing room as well around that mattress area from attackers on the balcony, looking in through bedroom window. Repic's going to play from cash. Intrigued to see whether or not we're going to see a player at top red as well, or they elect to just go for one. There's a player roaming below, and I would imagine Nazgul may eventually find his way back over towards top red. Or just look to sort of roam in, try and catch someone from RoflcopterGG on that first floor eventually when he pushes back up.
Drones heading out here from Ruffle. It's a sweep from CC and Cash across.
Boydie.
Repix will be the first to meet a player from the attack. Wall's soft and gets smacked open there by Boydie, and Repix now needs to be mindful of two angles, the door and the recently opened hole. Elects to swing the first and now make it 3 holes. The breach gets opened. Doesn't find that pick though. 2 traded out though, so it's a 4-on-4.
They also used a lot of drones for that too. There's only 4 drones left for RoflcopterGG, right? Just to try and get rid of that one player in cash. They did lose a lot of drones, so really credit to Repix for being able to be such a nuisance in that cash position. Campo's low as well on the Yana on that balcony. Hotshot finally has control of top red. Nazgul's made his way back over to main stairs. OJ, this is not looking good for RoflcopterGG right now. 2 players extraordinarily low. All members of Bliss at full health. 1 minute and 10 seconds left. And they haven't got Jacuzzi open at all.
Hotshot and Bouncing, the 2 players still with full HP, looking to team up towards Cash. Campo uses his utility to scout out the site. Gemini gets taken down though. The players will look to act upon this. Came spotted there by OJ, good clearance of utility, but those evil eyes, they could have a big impact late round here. Again, keep in mind 2 players super low. If Oda capitalizes upon that, yikes, it could be very tough here for Ruffle.
This is a very one-directional attack as well from RoflcopterGG. They haven't got anything coming in from Jacuzzi, so they don't have control above main stairs. You can see sort of where Shade is playing from right now. He is free to just sit there and, well, in the end, he actually found a double with the C4s. Nazgul from Logistics will catch Campo, and that is the round 1 in the end. The Guzzler was right. Jim Bedroom was the play for Bliss all along.
Well, I said it, didn't I? Bliss, they should have headed to Jim, and it would have been a round win. They finally convert it. They just holding on in this matchup as we welcome you back from the break. 2-4. Ruffle, though, with that round advantage, and I would have to assume they have the side advantage now on the defense. Maverick and Thatcher both banned out. This will be quite tough. That said, of course, Kaid and Mute taken off the board does, in my opinion, make Basement probably one of the weaker sides, so I guess it is a little bit interesting, at least from my perspective, to see Ruffle go there first. We didn't see Bliss have any success, but who knows? Maybe Ruffle are the better team and they'll be able to show us how it's done.
I think though you're looking at it from just the win-loss perspective, whereas I look at it from how did those specific rounds play out. You look at the very first basement site for Bliss, and they opted for a pretty unconventional approach. You know, play up in rafters. They had 2 in top red. It wasn't your stock standard sort of basement defense. Then the second round after that, they did sort of reel it back a little bit, but they still lost a player or 2 pretty early on. And then the last one, as we saw pretty recently, you know, that swing out from Kitchen, completely unsuccessful. And then I think it was Nazgul who was pinched from there. He gets taken out, and suddenly Bliss are down a player for the rest of the round. So all 3 of those rounds never played out in Bliss's favor from the get-go. Whether that be a credit to Roflcopter or Bliss's own undoing remains to be seen. But I think for Roflcopter here, if they play this similar manner to the way that they've played their attacks, which is, you know, they set the tempo, they find the opening picks, they're constantly in front, and they make it hard on Bliss, I think that they'll be fine here on basement.
And we did see Repix on the defense playing a similar aggressive position on their defense to what we just saw from Bouncin. So a little bit ironic to see those two duke it out early this round. But Bouncin, after feeling the heat, will play for his life fall back, and he can hold that gen position. Repix will likely post up there. And yeah, it is a little bit of a difference in the approach, and maybe that's just a sign that Ruffle will be a little bit more disciplined in this half as Repix gets taken down. So that's nice.
Yeah, and Bouncer knows this as well. He knows he's hit him enough there to get that down. And kind of like what I was saying here, Roflcopter have the advantage for the remainder. Bouncing though, nicely done from Nazgul. Did Bouncing like run to the end, stop, turn around, and then peek it?
I don't know.
He must have, because he got clear. Either way, fortunately for Bliss, they aren't at the disadvantage that they could have very well been. You saw the idea though from Bouncing, right? You get that kill, you get back, and then you've got the advantage for the remainder of the round. It makes it so much harder for the attacking team. 4 versus 4 though, it's still pretty much on par. With a minute left of the round, they're able to now have this first floor control Bliss. They can open up these floorboards, put the pressure onto Roflcopter.
Chipper ball getting opened here by Oda. Those summer charges will do their thing as Oda sends out some X-Kairos on the bar to open up the left side. So a bit of versatility available here for the attack. Now, Oda does have the kit in hand. He'll need to cross here, and it is precarious. OJ gets his ankles lit up. Both players now taking a bit of damage. Time continues to tick down. Shade getting aggro, though. He's dropped the hatch. Can he find the pick here? The answer is yes. OJ gets shut down, and now it's hot shot and camp on the 2-on-4.
Yeah, and that's credit to Team Bliss, because they've got different avenues of attack. They're able to get a lot of eyes sort of across 2, 3 different locations, rather than say a kitchen hatch drop where it's pretty easy for the defense to play to that. Hotshot's going to make this interesting, but in a 1 versus 3, it will be very, very difficult, and we haven't seen anyone be successful. He's going to get that kill unintentionally onto Shade. Shade had no idea. Fortunately, Oda and crew were still there for Team Bliss, and they will get another win on the board.
I'd be interested to know how he got that kill, if that was a drone, or if he was trying to make the sight line, or if it was game sense. I don't know. Either way, doesn't really count for a whole lot in terms of the context of that round, as it was basically secured there by Bliss. And I guess that the trend continues, right? Basement 100% loss rate for the defense. So I don't know. I'm still not convinced.
I swear he made it and had plenty of time, and then elected to peek, knowing that Nazgul was running behind him. I mean, I don't hate it, right? If you get that kill onto Nazgul, it's a 5v3 for the remainder of the round. Yeah. Is he just making? I was gonna say, is he making a rotation hole, or trying to make a second rotation hole so that he's got an option, and it gives the defender 2 holes to look at? But yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's just big brain.
Yeah.
Just figured maybe he would be sitting there.
Either way, moving on. Looks like we're heading above. If and when we get in above, maybe.
Are we getting the Bouncing treatment?
I'm getting a bit nervous. The tension's rising. I'm standing up at the moment. I don't have to sit back down again. I just may not have to sit down.
Find out on the next episode of OCN if we get into the game. He has to sit down. Get down.
I'm down. I'm good. Good to go. Getting my daily squats in.
Up and down tonight for you guys. Look, it's a fair look. You brought up the good reasons as to why basement isn't being held as strongly as it usually would. The band's making it a bit more difficult. I think it's a bit more than that. I do think it's the way that it's being played. definitely from what we saw from RoflcopterGG was more conventional, right? In the way that they were playing it, more on site, not really trying to give too many away. The trade from Nazgul in the end was huge to make it 4 versus 4. But the biggest thing was Team Bliss's attack. More than RoflcopterGG's defense, I don't think RoflcopterGG did a whole lot wrong, right? Which is a stark contrast to where I felt like Bliss did a lot wrong on their defense. But Bliss's attack was just very thorough. They had many different angles of attack, and overall just in the end overwhelmed RoflcopterGG. So full credit to Bliss. We'll see if they can back it up here. And as we sort of touched and alluded to very early on in the series, yes, the stats might say it's defender sided, but Bliss is a good attacking team, and I think that then throws out whatever other rounds are or what other teams usually do. And we're kind of seeing that right now. Both teams, just the way that the rounds are playing out and the maps are playing out, not usually how we see it.
Boydie bringing Aruni into the fray for the first time tonight, and the first time, of course, between these two. To see what impact that has in this round is Bouncing again aggressive towards bot blue. There's a player repelled outside. I don't think Repix will peek that too willingly. Seems to be shoulder checking it, so not much intel to play off. And Bouncing might play into this, but he gets droned out. Good work there from Team Bliss, and Repix will stay alive for a little bit longer.
That's fine. That's another drone off the board. 7 left for Bliss. They've lost 3 pretty early on. Nothing like one of those earlier rounds that we saw from RoflcopterGG's attack, where I think they had like 3 left with a minute and a half remaining. Down to 5 drones now. Bouncing still just being so aggressive in storage. Paying dividends, but they do lose a player elsewhere. Boydie goes down to Shade over in Garage.
Minute 30. Breach being worked now by Bliss. Oda fulfilling that hard breach role as he has for most of this season. I know a bit of a fan favorite in the chat. I'm sure y'all will be happy to see him pop off here maybe. Shade, secondary hard breach. In fact, he's already in rafters. So double reinforced off. No one really playing off that, but they impact trick it. All right. That's pretty cool there from Roffle.
I think the Salmas now.
Yeah, it does follow it up. So they have an entry in towards the site. They can still think about a default plant. Repix holding that cross. Droning currently knows it's clear. He'll be able to relay that to the team. And with Bouncing dropped, let's have a great chance in this round.
And Repix keeps thinking that he's going to get run out from storage. He's just going to commit now. Todd catches Bouncing. 3 versus 4 for the remainder of the round. Blues have got the advantage here. Can they capitalize though with 35 seconds left in this round? Shade's now going to go in for the plant. Does he get denied, or is he going to be able to stick it? He actually gets off of it. C4's in from OJ. Doesn't quite stick it. Doesn't quite land. It goes back out again. OJ playing a very aggressive position from Con. Now he drops down. He's going to go for the rotation. Campo watching this angle from Cash. 15 seconds left. I mean, Shade's gotten off this diffuser a couple of times now, but he's gotten to the point where he has to stick it. No matter what, he is going to stick it, and he is going to get it down. Gas canisters go out. Shade gets it down, but he takes a big chunk of damage for it.
Tricky post plant with the cross being held outside. Hotshot here's the repel, but can't find the pick because he's playing too low down. OJ received the call as Hotshot finds the pick. It's a 2-on-2. Equal in man count, but still so challenging. Repix continues to move left and right, right. Oda, in fact, will be the one to pick up that kill, and he finds the second. Hotshot taken down, and Bliss will claim the round.
Really good positions. They got 2 very good angles on that diffuser. I don't think there was really ever much of a chance there for RoflcopterGG. Unless it would have had to have been a misplay from Repix if he was just sort of peeking at the wrong time and then gets caught and then leaving the 2-on-1. That would have been the only way back into the round there for RoflcopterGG. But credit to Bliss, they're playing well here now on the attack. And we head back down to basement, and so far I'm getting a sense of deja vu, guys.
Ooh, yeah. Imagine we went through the entire map without seeing basement 1. That'd be pretty wild.
Has that ever happened in OCN? Surely not.
I don't know. Dev!
Where's Dev?
Has there ever been a game where no one's won basement? I can't hear him. He's too high in his apartment.
Oh.
Living the high life. You can't hear me from down here on the street. I'm sorry. I'll get back to you on that stat. I'll make it my mission by the end of the night. I'll go through all 600 games on Liquipedia, and I'll get back to you. I'm sure there'll be plenty of time if there's more rehosts.
I said OCN, not ever. I just said for OCN.
Yeah, but remember, it's the map of Oceania, so it's probably been played 600 times.
You're not wrong. I love the suspense as to whether or not we're going to get in to this next round or not. Like, we're not 100% sure.
It's a possibility. Bounce it!
Bounce it!
Oh, battle line!
What, by battle line?
Uh-oh.
This match... this match has had it all tonight. Welcome back.
I wonder what
I love it though. The suspense was just perfect in the end.
I'd love to know what we want to know, has there ever been a game in OCN where no one's won a defense basement on Clubhouse? Second stat to try and work out. I'm sure Dev Marta, we can contact him for this as well. What is the longest best of one in Oceanic Nationals history?
Ooh. We could ask Rob and Raven because they've probably they probably casted
They
it,
set
right?
the record last week.
They've usually had pretty rotten luck with these sort of things. It's our turn tonight. Look, it's been a fun match to watch when we actually get to watch it.
Yeah.
It's 4-4. It's back and forth. We've had, of course, no success on basement for the defensive teams, which we're not used to seeing. There's obviously reasons as to why. I still think it's not like the only reason, guys. It's just a good one to bring up. You know, the bans do make it a little bit easier to attack the site.
Yeah, I feel like we've hammered that point to death. I don't really know if I want to talk about it anymore. I know I get paid to talk, but honestly, I'm
just gonna sit back.
It's the food coma from Easter, man. I'm still just tired, like, and this match is not helping. But we'll push through. We'll push through, just like these teams will. You know what? This game's gonna go to OT. I'm calling it right now. It's gonna go to OT. Which goes against my prediction, because if it goes OT, Bliss win. But hey, it's only fitting, right?
I did kind of mention OT at the start, right, in the pre-show. I thought that if Bliss was going to win this, it was going to go to OT. Like, the majority of their games have all gone to OT. The last 3 games have been 8-6, 8-6, 8-6. 2 of those in their favor being against Order and Rhythm. So, yeah, it would be very fitting, very, very fitting if it does go to OT. There's a lot in this game, right? This may be the longest match ever. There's some funny moments and the whole bouncing thing and everything, but it's still a very impactful game for the season as a whole for both of these two teams. If Roflcopter lose this, it continues their downfall, 3 losses in a row. At what point do you almost say season over? To be fair, I mean, they've got LFO and then they've got Order, so it's a mixed bag for the next 2 Playdays. Puts emphasis then to win this one. And as we sort of touched on for Bliss, they've got a difficult road home as well. Wildcard and then Knights. Again, puts emphasis on this one. So both teams are really, really going to want to win this. And we're even. We're as even as we can be. Both teams can't win basement. Both teams doing better on the attack. It's 4-4. Yeah. We just need to see more. We literally just need to see more. Bouncing, fix your PC. Whatever's wrong, fix it. I will pay for your internet.
Yeah, it's been a bit unfortunate. Yeah, can please? I assume we're going to be going back to basement because it was picked before the rehost was called or whatever the case was. Just go to bedroom.
Welcome
please.
to the Xenox and Guz podcast. Look, I think this is a good point. This is a good point, Tickerman. This is a good point. We need to get a podcast for Siege in the Oceanic region. It needs to happen.
I think it will. Wink, wink. Eventually. Remember that? Remember that thing we had last year, Xenox? Do you remember that? Is your memory good enough?
Yeah,
to see?
well,
yeah.
That was last year, right?
Well, who knows? Maybe it'll make a return. I mean, I don't want to leak anything, but they potentially could return.
Right. Can we call it the Potentially podcast?
Only if Manic's hosting it, then yeah, sure. What would we talk about?
Rehosts?
we do enough of that. I can't deal with it. I don't think. Well, yeah. Look, there's like a limit of how much a caster can handle it in terms of like minutes of rehosting, but oh well.
I don't mind it. I think it's fine. It's just the fact that it's the first game of the night. Also, when it says we have a short rehost back into the action soon, it should be we have some small amounts of action. We'll be back to the rehost soon.
It's like a game of NFL, right? It's all these small plays just broken up with breaks.
Yeah.
Oh, you know that like I said off stream earlier, this is why me shaving the beard has literally cursed us. Because now
I tell you what, I could probably go
to show it.
to the bathroom, shave mine off as well, and then be back, and we're still here.
Don't leave me alone. You've done that before on a cast, and it was not. That was not fun. I remember that still.
We should probably be a bit serious. I guess it's Oceanic Nationals, though. We can have some fun. We have some short gameplay for this podcast. Production's just A+ tonight. They're helping us out here. Of course, for those maybe just tuning in or not sure what's going on, this match has been going on for at least an hour now, and it's still only 4-4. Unfortunately, you know, there's been some player issues. We will hopefully be back in soon. We've got a long night to come, though. If you love Siege, then you're probably not too upset because there's a lot of good games to play out after this. We've got Rhythm Elevate coming up, which should be a good game. I mean, Rhythm have shown they've got some form in them. They took wildcard, 8-7 with a good win there, and a resurging wildcard at that. They took Bliss to OT, and Bliss has proven this season they're no pushover, and they beat Order. So Rhythm is not exactly a walkover team. Elevate are going to have to play their best, and we know, guys, I hate to say it, but sometimes Elevate play down to their opponent. They can be inconsistent. So it's a game to watch. Order versus LFO should be a bit more sure, but LFO beat Elevate last week. So, there's another one there that if Order don't bring their best, LFO have a chance. And then Wildcard versus Knights to close the night off, which a resurging Wildcard versus a pretty poor OCN Knights. It's yeah.
So what you're basically saying is any of these games could go either way.
Wow, I don't know if I'd say that. There's a reason why the predictions from our expert panel had everyone the same for the three. They would be upsets. I think they would be definitely upsets. When you consider RoflcopterGG Bliss, there's no upset. It's not like if Bliss wins, that's an upset, or if RoflcopterGG wins, that's an upset. They, one team might be slightly favored, but it wouldn't mean it's an upset. But I think for the other three, there would be upsets, yeah.
And we've just, believe, received confirmation that Cynics is going to be jumping in for Bouncing, so the coach of Roffle.
Did we?
Yeah. So that's very spicy. I think it was Cynics that was playing in some of the 10-man servers a little while ago. Yeah. He'll do okay. I mean, it's pretty difficult for your coach to just jump in 8 or 9 rounds into a match and try and show up. So, yeah, I don't know if they're trying to wreck my prediction.
Does this change, though, now the whole course of this? Because it's 2 rounds lost in a row for RoflcopterGG. And then, now their coach is coming in?
It really just depends.
They're on the back foot.
Up. Like, sure, you can chuck him on a hard support role, just put him on the hard breach, flank watch if you really wanted to, but yeah, it's actually going to be really tough. Well, they're going to be on the defense, so what would you play him on? I guess you'd going downstairs. You're just going to chuck him on something util heavy that you can place prep phase, and just hope that he holds on and plays deep in armory or something.
I'm going to write to Snowball Esports and make a formal request that this match and the prediction and results just don't count.
But the result does still count for the standing.
I think there's a big enough outlier here as Cynic's Soaker. The Soaker is in. I don't know what he's soaking, but he's in for Bouncing.
It's playing the Mozzie.
It's a tough ask.
Well, this is actually... Wow, okay, so they have a sub come in. They're going back down to basement, which hasn't been won at all between both of these teams on the defense. They're bringing a Castle, they're bringing a Mozzie, so they're going to roam.
Yeah.
Yup. I gotta respect that. I have got to respect that. That is very, very ballsy. I cannot believe this. I honestly would have thought they'd just total down on side and try their luck, but...
Well, this makes a lot of sense though, right? Because what you're saying, and what you sort of alluded to earlier, was that the site itself is... The strength of its defense is affected by the ban, so why don't you just play off site?
Yep,
Why don't you just have that roam game?
Why not? Bring it to the table. You don't have, as I mentioned earlier, the mute to complement the Mozzie, but some strategically placed pests could probably be enough. I would have to assume that Cynics would know the ideal places for them. If he does help out in the strat department, can't confirm that, but I assume he'd at least have some basic understanding as where those should be placed. The rest of the team can play off that. Keen to see how Bliss approach the site though. Sometimes we see teams completely avoid the roam. Sometimes we see it get played into quite heavily. You can really do either. It really just depends how you're feeling.
I'm sorry, but did you just... I just want to confirm this, but did you just assume that Cynics doesn't know like how to play?
No, I didn't say that. I just meant like the specific Mozzie Pass spots that are in the strat book that I would assume he'd be involved in as the coach.
Because he's the coach. Yeah, yeah.
I hope that he knows if this is
You see where I'm getting at here with my questioning?
Yeah, if this is an actual strategy and not just like a random pocket strat.
Did he just almost shoot his own? Look, talk about being thrown into the deep end for Cynic Soka. But it could be the storyline if he can perform well here and help his team across the line in what is a very close affair. But it is most definitely advantage Bliss now for the remainder of this match. Has to be said. And they've also got the advantage for this particular round after Campo was eliminated. But I don't know how much of this rain game is going to be too effective from here on out. Down a play already. Droned out.
But he runs off. Doesn't decide to re-peek rather. Like his teammate didn't bounce and got his head taken off. Maybe that's the ultimate reason why he quote unquote left. Maybe he actually just got booted mid-game. We'll have to wait until
Well, he did. He got booted by Battle Eye.
True. We have to see a thorough investigation on that. Look, I wouldn't be too concerned. I don't think Bounce was playing that good to warrant anything too serious.
Rip that drone. There's 3 drones left, by the way, for Bliss with a minute to go. Certainly bodes well for RoflcopterGG if there's not really many drones left later in this round, and as they sort of reposition, right, from a roaming sort of sense, there's not going to be too much intel for Team Bliss.
Shade loves dropping that Moto hatch. On this occasion, though, he'll open up the triple wall. OJ repositions, though, catches him off guard. That's a great play there from the Falcon with 25 seconds left. This will be challenging execute. That said, Bliss do have the man advantage and pressure from Dirt.
Nice shot. OJ catches Nazgul, Cynic, Soka on the board as well with the elimination onto Repix. One in Dirt and should be known. Cynics, though, losing that exchange to Todd. 1 versus 2. OJ very, very low. Oda has the diffuser in hand, loses it. Just don't peek. Don't peek. OJ gets the kill anyway. He felt the pressure mounting, and Todd is eliminated. Found the double at the end and clutches the round win.
Really a round there of milliseconds. Difficult to know if he held his ground, if he would have won the round or not. My gut tells me he probably still would have won if he didn't swing, but very, very close. He had to go for it. Too close to call in the moment. Look at this. 1 swing there, make it 2, and make it 3.
It would have been 0 on the clock, but I think if he hadn't have stopped running and he swung and shot, would have he got the kill in time that the round hadn't ended? I don't know, but I think when you're in that moment, heat of the moment, guys, you can't really blame him there. Expecting the push to come, you can hear the footsteps. At that point, you want to be the aggressor there, because I guess in essence, you're not really expected to swing it, right? So you're going to catch him off guard by actually swinging at the end there.
Yeah, swinging in Siege can be pretty powerful. Often difficult to shut it down. So good work there from OJ to play into it. 4 kills in the first round, and Cynics as well on the board. Huge. Woo. Putting the heat on the rest of the team. Stepping up when it matters.
I like how
him on the Jaeger as well. Like that.
I like
honestly,
how it's emphasized.
Sorry, go.
It's all capital Soka, you know?
Yeah. Like I said, I thought they were honestly just going to chuck him on like a support role, like maybe even a smoke or a Wamai or something. But no, we'll just put him straight in the Fragger, let him run around. Cynics has the confidence, well, why not?
The other part of it as well is once you set those ADSs, right, and then you can kind of just run off and do your own thing.
Yeah.
You're less reliant. It's not as if he's trying to bandit trick or he's playing, you know, the smoke in the late game. So now it's sort of like, if you're Cynics, he may even have just been told, like, just straight up, like, just roam. Just try and catch someone. Play your own game. Think of it as ranked.
Campo's on a pretty aggro roam. He also set up the rotate overwards at the stock wall, which might help Cynics if he continues to linger inside of Lounge. Wall getting opened above. That, of course, with the exterior CC wall by the Salmers. So good work there from Oda. Nice and clean.
Now this is he's just going to hold top red, right? So he just plays down the stairs at times, but then he, for the most part, once there's pressure from Team Bliss onto CCTV, he'll hold top red with the shield. The question will be how long does he want to take before he leaves? And I feel like I'm getting my answer as I watch him run back over to bedroom. Literally, it didn't last long.
It's up to Bliss now to drone that. Oda sends one out. Should be able to drone it out and call it clear for the rest of the team. And provided they capitalize upon this quickly, they'll have plenty of time for the rest of the round. In fact, we're only at the halfway point.
They get that up really quick, guys. Like that top red cash position, like there was not even an exchange. They just left as soon as Bliss had some sort of a foothold on CCTV. Roflcopter vacated very quickly. Minute and 20. That gives them so much time now for Team Bliss to set up through Con. Don't know if they're going to go over to the logistics hatch, open that up and have that. But of course, Todd on the balcony, Nazgul on the balcony as well. So a lot of pressure. Forming on to Roflcopter.
Bit of a peculiar defensive setup. So they've double reinforced the Logi wall and electrified it, keeping in mind Thatcher Maverick ban. So I don't think they'll actually really be able to open that unless they take control of the hatch. Shade off screen does find one. He might play that hatch position and try and clear that out. But I like what I see from Roffle. Utilizing those arena gates as well to spice things up, bring something a little bit different to the board. Bliss, though, with the man advantage, should be able to work through it.
Bliss are playing this really well. They got so many different avenues into the site now. Shade above as well, opening up logistics hatch. Nazgul catching Campo through Jacuzzi wall. They've got Con, they've got the windows. I mean, there's really no place to hide right now for Roflcopter. That's why Oda's able to just walk straight in onto site, because Team Bliss have got all of these angles covered. They're getting the kills as well to go with it. It's down to just Cynic Soaker in a 1 versus 4.
Well, not much you could really do there, was it? Bliss to take the round. Cheeky shot at the top of main to finish Cynics off. Probably not having the desired effect he would have liked off site playing the Jaeger, but again, subbing in mid-match as the coach, you shouldn't really be expected to do a whole lot. It's up to the rest of the team to step up. Wow, 5-5 scoreline. I just can't help but feel that OT really does beckon.
You say that, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bliss just win the next two. You can feel the shift. The what's the word I'm trying to think of here? Momentum. That's the one I'm thinking of, guys. Jeez. The momentum has shifted over to Bliss. And a lot of that is not just to do with obviously the score lines or the rounds as a whole, but you know, in fairness to Cynics, I mean, like Roflcopter have been forced into making a sub here halfway through a match that's already gone on for an hour. It's not ideal. It'll say a lot about Roflcopter though if they can actually come out and win from here. But Team Bliss have the momentum. I expect them to close this out.
Oh, big flip-flop from you in the predictions. I'm a little bit disappointed that you don't have the same faith I do in Roffle.
I'm sending an email to Snowball Esports to get this match retracted from the predictions.
I think this relationship might come to an end very quickly. I just flip-flop mid-game on me like that.
There are reasons why.
Just not good enough.
Reasons why.
Look, I still have full faith in Roffle. They're heading back over towards CC. I look at my sheet and I'm a little bit scared. They haven't won it yet. They actually
Is
lost
that
this side
Yokai
last
drone
time
in
they played
place to stop a default plan?
I don't know.
I believe.
Was it placed on the vent in garage? There's one on top of the rack inside. Where was the other one? It was inside garage, right?
I didn't see the second one. One's in garage.
Yeah,
on the roof.
So it might have an angle in towards the default. Could be right. Maybe we'll see that played out later in the round if Bliss get control and go for a default execute. So far, their spawns and early movement would suggest they'll go for a garage take, open up main wall, and do the old default onto B. Todd to drone out bot garage, calls that it's clear. Cynics, meanwhile, is lurking a little bit over towards Lounge, trying to support Boydie in this position. Let's see what he can do.
I do like this though, that they're just giving the freedom of Cynics to be able to sort of just set those ADSs and then run off and roam and at least have some presence defensively elsewhere on the map. Roam around, get some information, get some intel, maybe clear out a few drones. 6 left in hand for Bliss, minute and a half in the round. I think this is working out okay for Roflcopter, certainly better than Jim Bedroom. Boydie not under a heap of pressure, but the wall below him has been opened up, so a couple of avenues that he does have to keep an eye on. This position is allowing him to at least maybe get a chance at catching them coming through the door, all from underneath. Nazgul's gotten 4 kills in the last couple of rounds since the rehost. Make it 5. They cleared out Boydie with relative ease in the end. That Rafters position now open.
This is a little bit scary though, maybe from OJ, who drops the con hatch, sends a burst out the main door to scare off that player. Position, of course, now revealed. He'll need to be careful if he wants to go for a flank, and will insist on doing so from the bottom floor, but Bliss now. The next hurdle.
40 seconds left. If they can just buy time, allow Bliss to get the default, well, not get the plant, but stop the plant with, you know, a second left from that yokai drone, but they're going to have to put a bit of pressure to not allow Shade to go for it now. If he goes for it now, then you're kind of wasting the drone. It'll go too early. Shade's going to push forward here. Oda's the one who's got the diffuser in hand, closer back to sight on the ace. And hello, Cynic Soka with a double on her epics and Nazgul from Cash. Todd just trying to make his way up top red, but he's stopped by the barbed wire. 12 seconds left. That yokai drone should be in position, and Campo's still alive. I heard it go off, and it does stop it, and that's going to allow Cynics as well to push up and swing out, and there's no time left for Bliss. Well played, Roflcopter, start to finish in this round.
Hashtag Cynics for call. Let's get it trending in the chat. Man's going off. Huge 3K in the round. That last one.
He had the information on the last one though, because of the yokai drone.
Nah, that's all game sense. All game sense.
All games. Oh, it's not Cynics.
What I will say in that round, actually, the one player I believe that actually had one of the biggest impacts, but we didn't really see it, was actually Hotshot on the smoke. They went for the plant, right? And although we saw Shade send it deep trying to find a player at the top, if you looked at the health bars on the right of screen, you could see them basically all ticking down. So he perfectly placed a gas canister to deny the first plant, right? And then later on in the round, he used the rest to stop any other deep pushes in towards the site. So he, for me, sure, he wasn't flashy on the scoreboard, but he did a lot of work that would have gone unnoticed to the untrained eye.
I think that's very common in Siege. There's a lot that you can do that doesn't go on the scoreboard. Just the way that you're able to either gather intel, or the positions that you're holding, or just being able to stop certain attacks. Even just killing like 6 drones in quick succession and denying a lot of intel that you can gather later on. I mean, there's a lot you can do. There's a lot that you can do, both ranked and in competitive. Trust me, guys, as a support that's usually down the bottom, I do find myself at times, you know, I do a lot of call outs. I got good positioning, but I don't have the best KDA.
10 seconds to
What was that? Did you just say you have good call outs? Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a rank session not long ago where you got tilted and didn't talk for about 3 hours?
I don't know if it was 3 hours.
Yeah. Felt like it. I ended up getting tilted and leaving the stack that night, so I can't really comment. But
we started winning after you left too. I don't know if there's a correlation there.
No, that's just coincidence. That's definitely not a correlation.
Well, right now, match point for Roflcopter. I was maybe too quick to write them off. They looked superb in that last round. The way they played start to finish. Are they set up to close this out and secure all 3 points as well? Or are we going to head to OT? Is the question.
Well, you did seem pretty convinced that this would be a Bliss dub, but Roffle on match point. In a great position to close this out, and most importantly as well, get the full 3 points. Considering how close the standings are at the moment, that's really impactful. Of course, any win's a good win, but 3 points, of course, is better than 2. Ruffle
usually
very keen. Yeah, usually very keen. Just close this one out. That said, though, Bliss with some good progression. They've got the hatches open. next step will probably be to establish some of the vert. That said, they haven't brought a sledge to the board. They do have Nazgul though, to be able to open up the floor with the breaching rounds and the breaching charges. That's exactly what he'll do right now.
We'll say Bliss can actually force the OT here. They will be in first place, but with three other games to play tonight. But they'll be in first place for a little bit if they can stop this match point from Roflcopter. All five still alive, minute left on the clock. And what has, at least tonight, been a relatively easy site to attack. So the pressure right now is on Bliss. The onus is on them to win this round, but Roflcopter are not giving them an inch. And this is the difference compared to a lot of the other earlier rounds that we saw on Basement. The defensive team typically losing a player early. This time, though, it goes the other way. It doesn't last too long, though. OJ gets traded back by Todd. 4 versus 4. Swing out from Shade. Is he going to keep looking to find more here? There's more trades happening elsewhere on the map. There's Cynic Soka. Boy, has he come in and made a massive impact. The Soka. Oda versus Boydie. It's Oda who comes out on top. 2 versus 3. Where is the Soka? Cynics. Is he going to come up clutch again? Diffuser's down. So is Shade. He's out. Todd is low. 1 versus 2. No Soka from Cynics. And Bliss will force the OT. They secure a point for themselves, guys. And right now, they are alone at the top of the standings on 9 points.
Wow, there's 40 seconds to go. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, how are Bliss going to pull this off? Because they had one drone, not one drone down. They had one drone. 9 other drones were destroyed in that round, which is fantastic work there from Roffle, don't get me wrong. But somehow they still pulled off that execute. And I guess that's a testament to Bliss just being able to play off one another, play in the moment, hit those calls and those trades efficiently. And it worked out in the end. A little bit close. Could have been a bit dangerous with Todd so low in the post plant, but well played in the end. And Bliss, it was an important round. They get it now to overtime, and at least, as you alluded to, secure 1 point.
Yep. They both got 1 point, of course. Roflcopter themselves. They get and that's always actually the fun thing. When you're the team that gets that match point, you secure a point, and then you kind of get a freebie from there on to try and get 3. That is now, of course, the downside. Roflcopter cannot get all 3 points, as we just had a tack timeout from Team Bliss. At best, the most that either of these two teams can now, of course, is get 1 extra point for Roflcopter. It would put them to 7 points, which is still decent. Puts them in the same position as Order and Wildcard where they're currently at right now. So it doesn't get them out of the logjam. Whereas for Team Bliss, had they got all 3 points, and this is what I was saying in the pre-show, they really could have gained that large separation. At best, now they end the night at 10 points, which is still decent and certainly in a much better position than quite a few other teams. So if you're Bliss, you're more than happy with 2 points here, considering at one point you were down 4-2.
Now, during one of those earlier rehosts, I did make a cheeky little tweet, and it was a little screenshot of me sitting, looking pretty upset, a little bit annoyed, if you would. And that is my reaction right now, seeing Basement played out once again. We have seen it so many times, yet 1 defensive win. I don't know why these teams love this site so much, and there's probably people in chat thinking, "Oh, Guz, just shut up. You've got no idea what you're talking about." But it's just
Wait, who won it defensively?
Ruffle. So sure, this was the team that won it. So look, don't attack me. But I just think the win-loss speaks for itself. It's just a little bit concerning. They also literally just lost it in the last round, when they really probably shouldn't have, considering the drone economy. So look, whatever. I have full faith in Ruffle. I did predict them, so I'm sure they'll do okay. But please just go gym bedroom, please. Pretty please.
Certainly going to be a good question to bring up. I know that's already my question for the interviewee from either side, whoever we get, because it applies to both teams, right? This whole Basement dilemma. So I'm sure it'll just be like standard. Yeah, the band's made it easy, but then why is everyone choosing it? That's the question. So we'll find that out later. As we head into overtime, the pressure does kind of release a little bit. You don't have to win this particular round. It's the next one onwards that does matter a bit more. Would be nice, of course, to get overtime match point. I don't have the statistics, guys, but typically and this goes as well for APAC South. Whoever wins the first overtime round usually goes on and wins 8-6. I see 8-6 everywhere.
Could be the case here. I'm trying desperately to pick out something interesting in these executes, but honestly, so far, Bliss playing very textbook. They're going for the hatches, they're establishing that vert kitchen hallway, they've opened the dirt entry as well if they want to go for a two-pronged attack. And so far, not much retaliation, but that said, Campo catches me off guard, and Todd as well, who have to sit out for the remainder of the round. One thing to note is Bliss's drone economy on this occasion, though, looking a bit healthier with a minute to go. Still 7 available, so they can send those out. Trying to think about exactly how they want to approach site. Will they go for the triple wall? Will they push dirt? Will they drop the hatch? A lot of questions that need to be answered.
Probably need to do all the 3, but you've only got 4 players left after losing Todd, and you're also running out of time. Nazgul's gonna drop down oil pit, push in through blue. He's got Repix to his right as well, so a lot of emphasis on towards blue. Nazgul's gonna open up, get hot shot, but he's trying to back from OJ and Church. Still a bit of time here to get onto site for Team Bliss. They find the pick from Repix, who has been his usual self in this match. He's been impactful. Shade's gonna get the diffuser down. It's a retake scenario again, and it's once again looking like it could be the fate of the team. Bliss, Cynic, Soka picks up the double. He's been huge since coming in. 6-1-4 for the Soka. Now he runs up central stairs with confidence, knowing that there's a player above Oda. The 1 versus 2, they both run up together. They've got time. Oda will get Cynics. He will get the second onto OJ. Team Bliss have overtime match point.
I think we can say it, chat. Oda is officially the best player in the history of Oceanic CG Sports. The man is just on a whole nother level. He just thinks about the game differently, and he doesn't miss a shot. Very well played there in the post plant. Oh, let's get a sweet replay of that. We'll see Cynic's shots as well. I mean, let's not forget this. This man was looking so sharp. How sharp are those 2 shots? This guy's just jumped in 8 rounds in and hitting shots like that. And honestly, OJ probably should have clutched that in the end. He got the first bullet there on the to Oda, but didn't get the kill.
Cynics played the, he basically got baited in, right? So Cynics is the one who goes in first to die, knowing that OJ will get the trade, therefore winning the round. So just more things that Cynics have done, that he's done really, really well. I just can't fault him. Cannot fault him. Even in Death Guards, he's still playing perfectly.
Wow. 6-7, the score line. Bliss. They've heard my calls and they won't go low, instead heading to CCTV. Todd again playing the mirror. They're sticking that pick. Nazgul as well on the Warden, so echoing selections of previous rounds.
I can't recall if the Warden had much impact besides just placing the shield.
Nah, it really didn't. I want to see what Shade's doing. What's he doing? Just checking out the meat locker. Making sure the refrigeration's working. I think it's, the smoke's moving, so that's a good sign. Barricade is still up though, so I don't know exactly what his goal is. I assume he's just waiting for a player to come up and smack it and he'll kill them, but there's no one there, Shade.
Overtime match point, as I said before, usually the team that has got 7 next to their name typically goes on and makes it 8. But this match in particular, well, it hasn't quite played by the rules, guys, that's for sure. Kennel's wall, it's a bit of a mess, it's ugly, but it's technically open. Is that mirror still up?
Wouldn't surprise me. It lasted the test of time last
What
occasion.
are the physics on that thing?
It's lightweight.
Oh, yeah, okay. It's 5 o'clock. What is
Well,
it?
how
Like
do you think she?
optic
How do you think she
fiberglass?
carries it in her pocket, Xanox?
Oh, yeah, look, I don't know. Magic. Oh, the C4 missing Cynic's, the Soaker.
Oh,
I'm not going to live that down.
that name, incredible, but worthy of the title. He is top
Okay.
fragging. So
Okay.
Where is Shade
just
running?
went for a run and he just gets caught by OJ, but the nice little swing from Nazgul at least gets it back with a minute 10 remaining.
Campo can post outside the window with 2x. Boydie narrowly misses a shot. There's a player close on door here as well. He needs to be mindful of that. Shoulder peeks
Peeked
it
it.
and luckily gets away with his life. With 50 seconds to go now, though, Hotshot needs to think about opening up the cash wall if he hasn't already. I think it might be electrified, so it could be a little bit of a challenge that needs to be overcome. In fact, it is. They don't have any nades to work with either. They do actually clear it in the end, though. Some nice sight lines will be produced, and with 30 seconds left on the board, they need to try and convert this round to stay in this match.
They get that pick though from Campo, and this changes this match already quite drastically. 4 versus 3. Todd with that mirror on top red, this time facing into Cash. Went against it last time, elected not to. This time he's gone for it, and it's actually going to pay dividends. The swing in for the Soaker, he misses though. Oh, I thought he had the play. It's Oda though with a double. He does swing back at least over towards Ruff. That player gets the mirror at top red, but he couldn't quite beat your epics. Oh, the Soaker show, so close to sending it to another round, but it is GG's in chat. Hashtag Bliss up.
An 8-6 victory in the end for Team Bliss. It was a little bit of a marathon, but as we said, they are the kings of overtime. 2 points in the bank for them tonight.
Well, I've already sent my message off for Snowball Esports. That match doesn't count for predictions. Too much just going on. Big shout out though to Cynics, the Soaker, coming in with 7 frags since that rehost where he was subbed in. I believe it was 4-4, if I remember correctly, guys, in terms of the point in which Cynics came into the match, subbing in for Bouncin, who unfortunately kept bouncing out of the game, which that in itself just, it feels rough for Roflcopter, but you don't want to take anything away from Bliss, right? Like they have to play what's in front of them. If Bouncin's having issues, if Cynics comes in, it is what it is. Each team's going to have, you know, a couple of moments throughout the season where some things go their way or it doesn't go the way for the other team, vice versa. So you just got to play your game. And Cynics honestly came in and probably performed better than Bouncin anyway, the way that match was going. He came in and popped off 7 quick kills, right? So I don't know. Was it really a downgrade? Probably not. So big win for Bliss. As I said, whenever you go up to 7-6, it usually becomes 8-6, guys, and that continues here.
Yeah, the math checks out, and Bliss, like I said, they continue that title, I guess, of being the best team in overtime. They've had the most matches in OT. They have the best conversion rate, so they show up when it matters. And I said that might be a testament to their endurance in long matches, and this match, I guess, only exemplified that. It was a very long match in terms of not just how many rounds were played, but with the breaks and whatnot, and that does play a part. Some teams tend to crumble when that happens, but Bliss, they stayed in it despite things looking a little bit rough there, particularly in regulation, but they played well in the end, and they shut down the Soaker, who was really doing a lot of damage.
So look, I probably went a bit too hard into that, but it was all in good fun. We have our interview, of course, for this matchup from our winning team, Team Bliss. It is going to be Oda coming in, mate. Long game. I bet you're probably a bit tired from that one. A little bit hectic. It felt like everything was happening. Congratulations, though. Huge win for you guys. Even though you only get the 2 points, it's still another OT win, and you guys are at the top of the standings for now. I do have to ask, though, and we were saying it on the broadcast between myself and Guz about basement being just unwinnable for the defensive teams, but defensive teams kept picking it. Like, what was the thought process there in that matchup tonight?
Honestly, it's just like we're more comfortable on basement than gym. And yeah, I don't know, recently, like, basement has not been the play, like, at all. I don't know, like, util, even if you play util, you play roam, it's just not the play. Everyone's just like, attack's just winning it. I think club is just getting more attacker-sided, to be honest.
Yeah, On a lighter note, I did see on Twitter the other day that you tagged me on a post, and it was a Zinger box actually in a box.
In a box?
How much of an effect did that have on the matchup tonight? Are you still fueled from that Zinger box a couple nights ago?
Nah, look, man, the Playday is so much better. On a play, it's so good. The box is, I don't know, man. I don't rate the box.
Look, I still can't agree with you on that one. But looking forward, you guys have wild card and then Knights after that. So arguably, I guess at the start of the season, at least, we would have said probably the two hardest teams to close things off. But you guys, you're in a good position now. You're literally top of the standings. How are you feeling for those two games?
Honestly, pretty confident. I think we can bring it to both teams and take the win on both matches, to be honest.
Okay, that was short and convincing. Hopefully your results of the server are the same.
Just know it, yeah.
Well, the matches haven't been short and convincing though. You know, playing all of these overtimes, I don't obviously have the stats in front of me whether or not you guys had the match points in those. Do you know off by heart, like in all of these OTs, are you the team that's usually got that match point, but then the other team forces OT? So in a way, I'm sort of asking, like,
OT.
Yeah, I think you guys are forcing OT a bit more, which is a credit to you guys, right? That you kind of in it all the way to the end. Do you always feel that? Like, I know you did lose one OT against Elevate, but you must feel like you're always in every single game against every single opponent, and that's a good feeling.
Yeah, when we're down in rounds, you know, we don't really care much about it. We're just focusing on it, like, you know, winning the next rounds and bringing it to OT. And then when we in OT, it's just like the confidence is back up. You know, we got this, and then, you know, we just play the OT rounds and we're just winning them.
Gus, anything?
No, get that Zinger back in a box. That's all I'll say.
This is our analyst, by the way. This is our color caster here. All he brings to the conversation is the bloody Zinger box. That's the best we're gonna get from him.
That's what the people want. It's what the people want.
Come on.
That's all my Twitter
we don't pay you enough exposure. Oda, anything you want to mention before we let you go, buddy?
No, not really. Just hope Rhythm win tonight. We take the top spot.
Hey, they very well could. Feel the rhythm. But best of luck next week in the final couple of play days, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, cheers, boys. Cheers.
See you, mate.
Short, convincing. Yeah, look, Team Bliss, they certainly have been amazing to watch this season. And talk about timing as well for the Bliss organization to get involved, pick these boys up, and sort of follow the journey and what's probably been a season where maybe they need like a heart sponsor logo or something because of all of these overtimes, but they keep winning them, Guz. So I don't know what else to say. These guys are just the OT kings.
Yeah, wow. Looking at their stats as well, 4 of their players with a 93% cost, which I believe means that there was only one round for each of those 4 players where they didn't have an impact. So that's incredibly high consistency. That's really impressive. And look at Bounson getting his stats boosted by Cynics. Getting a nice little boost. But yeah, wow. Also a bit of a shame there for Boydie going -5 on entry. That is quite unlucky for him.
Is that? I mean, he's got a pretty good cost there, but is that a talking point in itself? I mean, we don't want to be, you know, too negative. We're not all about that here in the caster life, guys. You know, it's all fluffy rainbows and sunshines
and rainbows. Yeah.
But like in a way, you've probably got to do a little bit better than that, and I'm sure he would admit that.
Yeah, it's also interesting if he's was playing Buck for the majority of that map. I don't know why he would be getting in so many early engagements in the first place. You would have expected the likes of Bounce / Cynics. Yeah, that's what I mean. Normally your soft breach would be coming in second or third and maybe joining in those entries. So a little bit peculiar. Maybe that's just the way the rounds played out. There was a lot of, it felt like a lot of there was like the occasional frag almost in every round before that execute. So it was almost like a 4v5. So there's probably a chance that he was getting picked off in a lot of those, but such is life. You can't have a good game every single game, and that's where it's important that the rest of the team does step up to the table. He's
had a good season. Roflcopter's had a good season. I think every now and then it's fine to have an off night. It's fine to just, you know, your teammates are fragging out. Had they got over the line, no one wouldn't even really question it. You just say, oh, I'll get you guys a win next week or something. But, you know, I think for the most part, the rest of the members on Roflcopter didn't necessarily play bad. You saw that there in the statistics as well. It was a really even contest, as they usually are when they go to overtime. That's kind of the idea. But Bliss come out ahead as they usually do in overtime. Fortunately for them, they've definitely got the experience in OT that Roflcopter really hadn't. They had only played one overtime this season prior to that one. They do lose it out though. Team Bliss on top of the standings. Can you believe it? But we will see if it's going to be short-lived or if it may last the week. The next matchup, Rhythm versus Elevate, is going to dictate.